This video is about lying. And I'm going to tell you guys about why it's so much fun to lie and why you should lie more often and how it's actually necessary and that lying is a very important survival tactic. I'm just kidding. That's not what this video is about. But we are going to talk about lying. Here's the thing about lying. Lying spirals, and it spirals and it spirals and it spirals out of control. And it gets to a point where you will start to justify your own lies based on your own twisted logic. And what ends up happening is you get caught eventually. Maybe it's sooner, maybe it's later, but you get caught. And somebody you genuinely love and somebody you genuinely care about catches you in a lie. And they call you out on it. Now, all of a sudden, you're an untrustworthy person. And so their head starts to spiral, and they think to themselves, okay, if this person is lying to me about this, what else are they lying to me about? And now you're on their radar. And now you've got to gain their trust back. So some of you are watching this video, and you may have told a few lies in your life. You may have told a lot of lies in your life. You may be a pathological liar watching this right now. You may have caught someone in a lie. You may have a relative or a friend or a coworker or someone in your life who lies to you or lies to other people routinely. So in this video, I kind of want to explain the psychology behind lying and why people do it. So when people lie religiously, pathological liars lie for the simple fact that somewhere along the line, they told one lie. They told one white lie, and they got away with it. And so they told another white lie, and they got away with it. And then they started to think to themselves, this is actually kind of fun. Subconsciously, of course. Because I think deep down, nobody really feels good about lying, but they do it anyway. And the reason they do it anyway is because they have come up with, there's all sorts of reasons, right? But people have their own reasons. They have their own justification. There's a lot of reasons why people lie. None of them are good. One reason, and I think this is kind of universal for people who lie often, is that there's some sort of self-esteem issue going on. And you've got some sort of internal issue in your life that you're trying to cope with, that you're trying to reconcile with. And you don't want people to know how bad things really are. And so you fabricate it and you make it seem like you're doing a lot better than you actually are. And you tell people that, oh, I quit drinking, oh, I quit smoking, oh, I quit doing this, oh, I've been working on this, I've been doing this. And in reality, you're actually falling apart. And I'm here to tell you that the first step to stopping the pathological liar cycle is acceptance. It's acceptance. It's taking responsibility and ownership for the conditions of your life, because nobody else is going to do that for you. And as I'm saying these things, it sounds so obvious. It sounds like, okay, duh, right? Captain Obvious over here telling us things that we don't already know. Yet a lot of people lie to themselves. And that's the worst person that you can lie to, is yourself, because that affects you and it affects everybody around you. When people lie to themselves, I think that's the biggest thing, that's the biggest thing, right? I think that's the most common lie, really, as an adult. Now, children, I mean, if you have kids, that's a whole different story, because parents lie to their kids all the time. We lie to ourselves because it's comforting, right? It provides us a false sense of security. Perfect example, right? The whole "I'll start tomorrow" trope, right? When somebody has an idea to start a YouTube channel or to start a business or start going to the gym or get on a diet regimen, when an idea goes through somebody's head of what they want to do, what they want to pursue, oftentimes they comfort themselves with the lie of "I'll start tomorrow," or "I'll start Monday morning" is also a very popular one. And the reason that people do this is because they're scared, right? I don't think that's a secret, right? As you're watching this right now, I know for a fact that you have something in your head that you want to do, that you want to get started on, that you want to pursue, but you're too scared to do it. So you keep saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," or "I'll start Monday." It's a lie. You're lying to yourself, right? And maybe you're lying to other people, right? You say, "Oh, I'm going to start it tomorrow, bro," or "Oh, I'm going to start it tomorrow, mom," or dad, or Kyle, or Josh, or Sarah. "I'm going to start it tomorrow." You're not going to start it tomorrow. And you know that deep down. But it provides you a false sense of security. Not only do you get to continue being a dreamer and living in your delusion, but you also get to put it off and put it off and put it off. Why? Because you're scared. So you live in this painful purgatory where it's like, on one hand, you're like, "Oh, I'll start it one day." But deep down, you know that you're just too scared to do it. So you have to just take the plunge. Because here's what you got to understand about the whole "I'll start tomorrow" trope. There's no such thing as tomorrow, right? We as humans are on this continuous life cycle of death and rebirth. And the sun comes up and the sun goes down. The whole idea of like it being October 11th, 2024, and then tomorrow being October 12th, 2004 or 2024, this whole idea of that, it's just nonsense. There's no such thing as time. We made it up, folks. Time's not real. Time as we recognize it is not real, right? As we measure it, as we quantify it, is just simply not real. We made up the whole concept as human beings that today, October 11th, 2024, was Friday, right? And so when you say, "Oh, well, I'll start this tomorrow," well, there is no tomorrow. There's only today. So if you're not starting it today, then you're never going to start it. Because by that definition, there is no tomorrow. So you're basing it on a delusion. You're basing it on something that doesn't actually exist. So in reality, you don't actually want to start because there's something trapped into your subconscious, right? There's something trapped in your subconscious, deep in your psyche, that's stopping you from doing that thing that you say you're going to do. And you have to identify why that is. "Oh, well, I'm just lazy. Oh, I'm just a procrastinator. Oh, I'm just scared." That's not good enough. Why are you scared? Why are you procrastinating? Why are you doing all of these things, right? Like the trap that I ran into, right? This is a perfect example. The reason that I've been procrastinating on making these videos is because I've had a severe case of imposter syndrome lately. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of. I've hurt a lot of people. I've, just made a lot of really, really poor choices in my 20s, right? So like when I was in my early 20s, that was the prime source of all of my energy, right? Unfortunately, when I was in my early 20s, immediately after I graduated from high school, I started smoking weed. And while I enjoyed it, and I had some of the best times of my life when I was high, it also cost me a lot in the long run because it killed a lot of my ambition and it made me just not have any fire or drive to do anything. I'm not against smoking weed at all. You just have to know how to, you have to have discipline with anything, right? Everyone's different. Some people can smoke weed every day and sit around and do nothing because they have no motivation to do anything. And then there's other people who smoke weed who are extremely productive. So it just depends, and it varies from person to person. And I'm getting way off track. I'm just kind of rambling. That's okay. That's okay. I was just, I wanted to sit in front of the camera and I just wanted to talk to you guys because it's just been far too long and I need to start making videos again. God damn, I have a big ass Santa Claus beard. Holy shit. But anyway, we were talking about lying, right? And this leads me into my next point. So, drug addicts lie often. If you know a drug addict, you can attest. If you are a drug addict watching this right now, you can attest. Drug addicts lie. And they lie very often because they want to cover up their addiction as much as possible because they don't want other people to worry about them, because they don't want people to know that they're a junkie. Whatever the case is, right? Whatever your poison is, right? Whatever your medicine is of choice. I'm not judging anybody, okay? The first key is acceptance. You have to admit that you're powerless to this thing. And a lot of people will lie to themselves and they'll lie to the people around them and say, well, I don't have a problem. I could stop anytime I wanted. It's not true, right? Because oftentimes people who are addicts, they want to stop, but they can't. Because now they have a chemical dependency. And any day that they go without that drug, whether it be alcohol or whatever, they don't feel normal. They don't feel like they can operate in society like a normal human being. And if you get to that point, then you have an issue. And you need to seek help or help yourself, better yet. But I'm here to tell you that if you're a pathological liar and you're watching this, first of all, you need to knock that shit off. Because I've been there. I've lied often. I just got caught in a lie recently. And it was a real coming to God moment because I hurt somebody that I love. And it made me feel terrible. And it made me realize that I have to stop lying. And a lot of times that's what it takes. You hurt, somebody you love catches you in a lie and you regret it. And it hurts you just as bad as it hurts them. And you realize that you got to quit lying. But for your sake, I hope you don't get to that point. I hope you can cut it out now. It starts with not lying to yourself. You have to stop lying to yourself. You have to stop telling yourself that everything is okay when it's not. Nothing is okay. You have to get down to the root of the problem and really figure out what's fucking with you and what's feeding off of your energy, because it's most likely something that happened to you in your childhood. And if you can identify what that thing is, then you can fix it. But if you keep running around in circles and saying, oh, I don't have a problem, everyone else is the problem, because here's the thing, right? Whenever somebody is going through something internally, oftentimes they like to point the finger externally. And they say, oh, it's my mom and dad, or it's this, it's that, it's my friends, it's my coworkers, it's this thing that happened to me 10 years ago, and these business partners that screwed me out of this deal, and this person that ripped me off that one time. Listen, it's nobody's fault but yours. And that's the hardest pill for people to swallow. And it's easier to accept a cushy lie, right? It's easier to accept this idea that everyone else is the problem, because then you don't have to take any accountability. And our ego never wants us to take accountability, and everybody has one. But you got to put your ego in its place, right? You got to put your ego in check because it's hindering you. Your ego has a purpose, but when you let your ego run your life, you're just going to run in circles all day long. Because our ego tells us that everyone else is the problem, And if everyone else is the problem, then self-development and self-improvement and all of these sorts of things sort of go out the window, and you don't have to take accountability for anything. And when you don't have to take accountability for anything, you just sit there and you sulk in your problems and you expect people to feel bad for you. Nobody's going to feel bad for you. So anyway, this video is kind of turned into a stop lying to yourself kind of thing. Because as long as you lie to yourself, if you're comfortable with lying to yourself, then you're going to be comfortable lying to people around you. And you're just going to keep lying. Because if you can lie to yourself, then you can lie to anyone. It all starts with you. We treat people based on how we view ourselves, a lot of the time. Not always, but often. So me personally, if I'm going through a period where I feel bad about myself, that can translate into how I treat other people. As always, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Go get some head and drink while driving. I'm just kidding, don't do that. But subscribe to the channel if you're new here. And then go get topped off.